B4 Flex, Black Genetics Explained.
Now, the second reason is the power gene. That's right. Our body literally has a gene that helps us to generate power and force. Now, this gene is called ACTN3, and the gene creates a protein called alpha-actinin 3. Now, this protein is what's actually responsible for the power and the force. However, ACTN3 has two versions, a good version and a bad version. The good version is the R allele, and the bad version is the X allele. Basically, if you get the R allele from your dad and another R allele from your mum, and you become the RR genotype, you'll be able to create a lot of power and force. If you get the R from your dad and the X from your mum, you'll still be able to produce a good amount of power. Not as good as the RR, but still a good amount of power. On the other hand, if you receive the X from your dad and the X from your mum, you will not be able to produce as much power because your gene is insufficient in creating actinin 3. Now, the XX genotype, people who are XX, not RX, but just XX, completely the insufficient version of the gene, make up around 25% of the Asian population. That means that a quarter of Asians have the XX version, right? Which is not the good version. Now, when it comes to white people, it is 18% of white people. That's almost a fifth have the bad version, the XX version. However, when it comes to black people, less than 1% of black people have the bad version, the XX version. That's 3% of black Americans, 2% of Jamaicans, and in West Africa, the percentage of people with the bad version of the gene is around 1%. That means that around 99% of West Africans have the good version of the gene. And just to explain how important this gene is, with elite athletes with speed and power and strength, not a single one of those athletes don't have the good version of the gene.